Vrindaban, and I heard this directly from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. And he said, I can't remember who it was, but one of our Sankirtan girls had gone out to Louisville after all this had happened, many years later. And she approached one man, and he was sitting in a wheelchair. And when he found out who that girl was, his eyes got big and he said, I was one of those persons who came to your community, and this is what your God did to me. He was disabled, he couldn't walk anymore.
Ready, please.
So just for a little retribution. So yeah, and it's not that Krishna didn't respond. They got their reactions in different ways.
Mankamari, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Mankamari.
It must have been, yeah, I think it was Mankamari. Before I begin, I don't even know where I'm going to start, but there's one thing that keeps happening to me everywhere I go. A lot of times people say, can you tell me about the old days of New Vrindaban? So it's been happening a lot. I've been talking about these different pastimes, you could say, of New Vrindaban in different places, and people are so eager to hear. So New Vrindaban is becoming more and more interesting as time goes on, especially about the old days. I stayed here 20 years, and after about 18 years, Kirtananda Swami said to me, you know, you're a city boy, you're not a farm boy. And I said, now you tell me. 18 years. I guess he was keeping it quiet until the right time. Anyway, I don't know if I should speak about myself, but I was thinking I'd speak a little bit about Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada came here in '74, it was a meeting of many of the leaders throughout the country. They came here for a meeting with Prabhupada. It was in April of 1974, I think. Yeah? Anybody remember that? Prabhupada came, 74?
I think it was later. The blackberries were out, I remember, and it was July, August, I believe.
It might have been, yeah. Okay.
It was 76.
Well, he came in 76 also.
Right.
But in 74, when he came, many of the leaders came, and they left their respective areas. And after being here for a day or so, they were concerned about what was happening in their areas. So they wanted to call and just check up on their yatras to make sure things were going on and find out. But Kirtananda Swami shut off all the phones. So nobody could make a call. So they were concerned. So they got together as a group and went right before Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, you know, we are concerned about our yatras, how the devotees are doing, and we need to call and check. And Kirtananda Swami shut off all the phones. So Prabhupada said, yes, Kirtananda Swami is very frugal. And that was the end of it. So they never got to make their calls. So that's one of the things that we never had, and that was money, Lakshmi. I remember when I first came in contact with Krishna consciousness, I was living in New Jersey, and I got connected with first was in Colorado, but then in New York. And I was going to the Brooklyn Temple, and I became friends with one great devotee who now is Devanamrita Maharaj. We were personal friends. We were both bhaktas going to the New York Temple. He was living in New York, and I was living in New Jersey. We would meet on the train and talk about what we were doing. So after some time, we became really good friends, and we were sitting talking in the New York Temple. And I said, you know, I really like this Krishna consciousness movement, but I don't like this city life. I said, there must be some place I can practice this Krishna consciousness outside of the city. And he pointed, he said, you see that gentleman over there? I said, yes, his name is Kaladri. He's the temple president. Kaladri had just happened to be in New York, and he was doing shopping for the deities. So I said, all right. So I walked over to him and I said, and I introduced myself and I said, are you the head of New Vrindaban? He said, I'm the president and I manage the affairs. I said, I would like to come and join your community. He said, fine. And I said, well, what do I have to bring? Do I have to bring? He said, yes, bring your money. So that was my initial contact. I didn't have much, but that's what he said. So I got kind of excited, and I decided, all right, I'm going to go. So I came back to, his name wasn't Swami at the time, and I said, this is great, let's both go. He said, okay, we'll both go. So we made plans, and we were going to meet at Port Authority bus station at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning and take the bus to Wheeling. So that was the plan. I got there before 10, and he didn't show up. So I waited, because there were many buses. I waited the whole day, he never came. 6 o'clock in the evening, I said, all right, I'm going. So I got on that bus, and I had one book, Sri Upanishads. That was the only book I had. I must have read it about 5 times. So finally, I wound up at a Wheeling bus station at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I had a phone number for the community. So I called, and I was thinking, oh yeah, they might be happy, they're going to get another person. So they said, yeah, we know you're out there. Okay, just be patient, we'll send someone. So that was 8 a.m., nobody came, 11 a.m., noon, called again. Yeah, I know, we're working on it. So finally at 5 p.m., they sent a pickup truck with 2 people in the front and shovels and sand in the back. And they said, jump in the back. So that's how I came to New Vrindaban. So I jumped in the back with the sand and the shovels, and I was bouncing all over the road. I was thinking, are they trying to discourage me from coming? So that was my entrance into this most amazing community. I think they were teaching me, get ready for what's coming ahead. It was very austere. And I wound up in the old brahmachari farm. I actually spent many years there. And I did see Prabhupada in 1976 again. And Prabhupada came to the airport, and the devotees under Kirtananda Swami were asked to cook, anyone who could cook. And I was the head cook in the brahmachari ashram. And I can say I was the head cook because I was the only cook. There was no one else that would go down. I don't know if you saw it when you were there, but if you didn't see it or if you saw it before, the kitchen was known as the dungeon. That was the actual name for the kitchen. It was dark. It had one light in there, and if you turned the light on, you could barely see. It had a window covered with plastic. And sometimes people would go down looking for me, and I'd be in the kitchen, and they would say, nobody's in there. Because of the smoke from the fires, we have this wood, and it didn't matter what state the wood was in, you'd use it. It was wet or dry, and we would have to dry it out, and when you dry it out, the whole kitchen would be full of smoke. And it got so bad that I actually lost my eyesight, temporarily. So sometimes they would ask me to do arti on the altar, and in the middle of the altar there was like a chandelier just in front of the deities, over the deities, and I would be doing the arti like this. I couldn't look, my eyes were so bad. And I couldn't see, so they said, this is an emergency, we have to help you. So I met my first Indian person at that point. They brought in an Ayurvedic doctor, and he gave me some honey and water, warm, and he said, mix it, put it on your eyes, close your eyes for a half hour, do it 3 times a day, and your eyes will be fine. In about a week, my eyes were completely normal again. So it worked. But it was so, like during that time, Kirtananda Swami would joke with me. He said, "How do you like the sunshine?" And I said, "What sunshine?" You know, I couldn't see anything. There was no sunshine there. And if I had to go outside, I couldn't see the sunshine because it was too bright. So these were some of the interesting days of the old New Vrindaban. But I want to tell one particular story that I think Gauravani might appreciate this story. When we were asked to cook for Srila Prabhupada, each devotee had some particular preparation they could make nicely for the deities. So we were asked to cook that for Prabhupada. It was mostly sweets. So I was cooking para for the deities. So I was asked to make para for Srila Prabhupada. But there was also an opportunity to go see Srila Prabhupada, and some devotees would get chosen to be with Kirtananda to meet Prabhupada at the airport. And I really wanted to go. I was praying, but then when the choice was made, I wasn't on the list. So I was really feeling unhappy. So I was cooking the para, and at the same time, it was a beautiful bhajan by Gauravani's father, Bhardaraj, yeah. And he was chanting the Brahma Samhita prayers. So beautiful. And between not being able to go and hearing Bhardaraj sing it, so beautiful, I couldn't cook. I was just crying. I cried through the whole preparation. Because I really, really wanted to see Prabhupada, and at the same time I was being touched by this sweet bhajan. It was so beautiful. And when I finished cooking, I was thinking, oh, I blew it. I can't give this to Prabhupada. He'll never like this. It was complete. It was gooey and dark and just didn't come out nice. So I thought, all right. Anyway, I made some nice para for the deities. I'll give him the deities para. And I'll keep this aside. So when they went to find me to get the para, they sent Radhanath Maharaj, he was Radhanath Brahmachari. They sent him down to find me. They couldn't find me anywhere. I don't know where I was. So they said, oh, we got to get the para. So he went and took the para I cooked for Prabhupada, the one I put aside. And when I found that, I said, oh no, Prabhupada's going to think, what nonsense. Get him out of the kitchen. So I was lamenting. And then Kirtananda Swami came back the next day. And he said, I saw Prabhupada do something he never did. He ate 3 of your prayers, one after another in a row. I said, whoa. And I understood through Shastra that if you somehow do some direct service for the spiritual master, that is called special mercy. And the spiritual master is pleased by that service. So somehow I got some mercy. And I considered that, I always did consider that because I had that opportunity and received that mercy, it kept me alive in Vrindaban amongst all these difficulties and austerities we had to go through. Because we were just learning how to serve. I think Varshana Maharaj knows he sacrificed his whole life, not only his time, but his life to build New Vrindaban. And that was what everyone had, that spirit. As Maharaj said, the Brijavasi spirit was to please Srila Prabhupada by serving Sri Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra with everything we had. They became our life and soul. Everything centered around Sri Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra, just to serve them as best we could. And that was such a strong inspiration that kept the community going. And there's so many more smaller pastimes I could say, or I might say stories in relationship to the growth of this wonderful community. But I just wanted to say that what made this community so wonderful was sacrifice. A few years ago, I was in Echo Village near Bombay, the project under His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. And it was Radhanath Maharaj's appearance day. And they asked me to give the class on that day and speak about him and New Vrindaban. So I was a little nervous. All the devotees were going to come to hear. So I wrote a letter to Radhanath Maharaj. This is what they're asking me to do. Help. So he writes back. He says, try to communicate to everyone what we went through as a community to make it what it is today. In other words, bring about that spirit of the austerity that how much the devotees sacrificed everything. And I think we're hearing that so much from all the devotees, how much they gave their life to this, to develop New Vrindaban. And that's the Vrindavasi spirit. And I just want to say one thing. That spirit is the spirit of bhakti. The spirit of bhakti is the sacrifice. Now, as an organization around the world, we have a lot of material assets. And so that somewhat that pioneering spirit in the old days is somewhat lost to a little bit more of the comforts that have come by way of the older days. So let's try to keep that spirit alive, because we want to build not only this community, but we want to extend the New Vrindavan mood, the Vrindavasi spirit, to make it spread around the world and attract more and more people to come to Krishna consciousness. And that's the life. That's why people come. When they're inspired within the heart by the Lord, when we make that austerity to serve the Lord. What is that austerity? Prabhupada's instructions. Keeping Srila Prabhupada's instructions and the spirit of devotion foremost. So it shouldn't be a thing of the past. It should be a thing that we learn from the past and we remember the past and keep that spirit alive in our preaching and in our relationships with Krishna, with the other devotees, and with the mood of bhakti. So thank you very much. I want to thank Mother Sukavaha for organizing. I know she has a great team behind her. It's helping her. But personally, I wasn't expecting this to be so wonderful, but it is amazing. It is totally amazing. Thank you very much.